The federal Job Corps program is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Taxpayers shell out almost $2 billion a year to educate and train disadvantaged teenagers and young adults.
But is all that training doing little more than draining the taxpayers? Becky Oliver has been investigating the North Texas Job Corps in McKinney and is here with her story, Trouble at the Corps. Becky.
Steve and Heather, drugs, sex assaults, violence, allegations of cheating and fraud, and you are picking up the tab.
I decided to go to Job Corps.
With their slickly produced commercials, the Job Corps looks like the ideal place
I want a career, not a job.
for free education and career training.
I'm replacing brake pads.
But a Fox 4 investigation finds a toxic environment riddled with crime.
I was getting threatened every day. Somebody was telling me they were going to kill me.
We have an atrocious drug problem on center.
It went from fights to people having to go to the hospital.
It's just a horrible place.
Felipe Hernandez went to the Job Corps hoping to become a security guard, but it was his security that became an issue. He was jumped.
Philippe called me and he's like, hysterical almost. And I'm like, what the hell?
His mother, Retha, says she had to call 911 so an ambulance could take her son to the hospital.
Bruised his ribs, broke his nose, it crushed his orbital. You could see where the kids held him while the other, kid beat him in his face and the other one kicked him.
There's a zero tolerance for drugs, fighting, all that stuff is bogus.
Amber Fleming was a student in the culinary program. She says she was jumped right in the classroom.
She just got on top of me and started hitting me. She hit me like 3 times in my face.
Did anyone ever call the police?
It was insane. Absolutely insane.
Mike Jamison worked narcotics as a Chicago police sergeant. When he retired, he went to work as the head of safety and security at the Job Corps. He compares it to a third world country.
There's no rules, no laws that these students or the administration obeys.
There are signs posted outside the facility, no weapons, no drugs. But take a look at this video. A student recorded another student cutting something right on his school desk in the classroom. The student recording it took it to his counselor, Sandra Herndon.
Was that turned over to upper management, that video?
Oh, yes. In fact, my student was told to delete the video.
An internal report shows Jamison investigated and recommended terminating the student, but Herndon says it didn't happen.
Eventually, he just left because he did what we students do, and they AWOL out of the program.
According to the Job Corps handbook, there's a zero tolerance policy. Violations mean automatic termination. There's even a written policy agreement between McKinney Police and the Job Corps that states the center will contact police regarding any illegal narcotics, assaults, or serious offenses.
Don't be scared.
But we found the Job Corps violating its own policy, even operating an amnesty program where kids caught with drugs face little or no discipline.
I was brought in, asked to flush those drugs, told you better not call the police. This is federal property we're talking about, and we're running amnesty. Okay, does that sound right? We're running amnesty.
Jamison says he complained to his employer he thought more students should be terminated. The Job Corps terminated him in June.
It's intimidation. That's what it is.
Former teacher Dr. Teresa Sanders took it a step further, filing complaints with lawmakers, the government, even the president. She finally quit.
The culture of the center is to keep them on center. And the easiest way to do that is to let them do whatever they want to do.
And with the drugs comes the violence. Employees tell us brutal assaults like this one are routine, even occurring on a weekly, sometimes daily basis.
So those 21 months, I saw more students being attacked than I ever saw during my whole police career.
And it's not just students attacking students. Even Jamison was attacked by a student leaving a knot on his head. And police reports show this student, Christopher Simmons, attacked 2 security guards. Simmons went to jail but was never prosecuted. His criminal record shows priors for drugs and theft. Our investigation found student after student with questionable backgrounds, raising issues about why they were ever allowed to enroll in the Job Corps. Students like Justin Lewis. He came to the Job Corps after a stint in state prison for burglary and evading arrest. He was busted for drugs at the Job Corps and now we found him back in prison for assault. And Patrick Young had a prior drug offense before coming to the Job Corps. He was busted for assault deadly weapon while on campus. The victim ended up in the hospital, and the police report shows when police questioned the center director about why they were not called, Maria Martin told McKinney police it was not Job Corps policy to notify them.
Was anything ever reported to the police?
No, the police was not even called.
Teacher Kimberly Dillard says she resigned after a student became violent in her classroom.
He was throwing chairs, kicking.
She says the student headed to the cafeteria and got a knife. She headed out the door. Private contractors run the Job Corps centers, collecting about $45 grand in federal money for each student. The more students, the more success, the more money. The Federal Department of Labor awarded Career Opportunities, Inc., or COI, the contract to operate North Texas in 2010. Centers get annual report cards. Out of 125 centers, North Texas ranks 101. And yet, government spending reports show the top 2 administrators pulled down hefty 6-figure salaries.
It makes me scared to go to sleep at night.
If I had one word, it would be hell.
Back in 1994, we reported trouble at the Corps, uncovering open drug use, violence, sexual activity at the same McKinney facility.
Tonight, an inside look into trouble at the Corps.
Our stories aired during congressional hearings and triggered change in the program. But 20 years later, the only real change appears to be the price tag.
It's the worst I've ever seen our center. It is the absolute worst.
Ed Hall started at the Job Corps right after that story aired. He's now the new head of security. He's worked for 5 different contractors, and he says the entire culture changed when this contractor took over and began reprimanding staff for reporting kids' illegal behavior.
The students quickly figured out that staff's hands was tied, so to speak, and they could pretty much do a lot of things that they wanted to do.
Former and current employees believe the program is all about keeping the numbers up, which creates a chaotic and volatile mixture of students. Regina Jackson recruited kids for almost 4 years. She couldn't do it anymore. She quit in May.
If you're telling them no tolerance for drugs, no tolerance for crime, mean that. Stand on it.
The concept of what Job Corps is supposed to be is phenomenal. What it is in reality is an absolute lie.
We're just messing their lives up. Just basically bringing them in, getting money for them, and just messing their lives up.
Now, we contacted the Department of Labor requesting an on-camera interview. The department asked for questions. We provided them only to be sent over to the Office of Inspector General. So we contacted the OIG and got no response. The contractor's attorney also declined comment.